الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن والاه. Then we have here the 10th reading from the book Al-Qira'at Al-Rashida, and it's entitled Musabaqatun. Musabaqatun. Musabaqa is from Seen Baqa. Seen Baqa. That's how you would look it up. And its form here, it means sabiq, means like previous, or the one that preceded. And musabaqa has to do with trying to precede another. In other words, with a good translation, racing, because you're trying to precede the other person, right? You're trying to be in front of them. You're trying to come before them, right? So, a race. We could translate this chapter as a race. He says, كانت أمس مسابقة في الجر في مدرستي. أولا اختار معلم رياضتي 24 طالبا من جميع الصفوف، هم أقران وأكفاء، وأوقفهم في صفوف صفا خلف صف، وفي كل صف 3. So he says كانت أمس. كانت here is a verb meaning was or were, and musabaqa is going to be our fa'il. It's going to be our doer here. So basically there was a musabaqa. كانت مسابقة. The musabaqa was أمس. أمس means yesterday. أمس is yesterday. كانت أمس مسابقة. There was a race yesterday. في الجر. In الجر from جيم را يا, meaning to run. In running, there was a musabaqa, a race. في الجر, in running. في مدرستي, in my school. Madrasa from dal ra sin, to darasa yadrusu, to study. The place of studying is called madrasa. This ya here is the ya al-mutakallam, for the person who's talking. My school. Awalan, meaning first. Al-awwal is the first. Here, awalan, meaning first. This is a adverb in English, meaning firstly, right? This is what happened in order he's talking about. Awalan, akhtara. Akhtara from khayara, meaning here to choose. Form 4. Akhtara muallimu al-riyada. Muallimu is from alima, and then form 2, which is allama, yuallimu, the person who does this. Alima is to know. Allama is to teach. And the person who does this is the teacher. He makes them teach, the muallim. اختار المعلم الرياضة. The teacher of riyada chose. Riyada is from Ra, Ya, Bad. Here it is, exercise. Muallimu Riyada, basically the gym teacher. Riyada is exercise. It's important for the Muslims to get some riyada, to exercise, to stay healthy, right? Muallimu Riyada would be the gym teacher, basically. اختار المعلم الرياضة مضاف إليه 24 4 and 20, meaning 24. He chose 24 طالبا, 24 students. Taliban here is tamyiz. It's mansoob because it's tamyiz. He chose 24 what? 24 students. Min, from, jami', from all, like we say jam, to gather. Jami' is all, the same as the word kullu. Well, here would be kulli after min. Min jami' as-sufuf, from all of the classes. Saf would be class or grade, it could be as well. From all of the classes or grades. اختار معلم الرياضة 24 طالبا من جميع الصفوف. He chose, the gym teacher chose 24 students from all of the grades, all of the classes. Hum, they, أقران وأكفاء. Aqran from the word qarn. As the Prophet ﷺ told us that the best generation or the best of people is his generation, right? Qarn. Right? But qarn here means, aqran means peers. Right? Peers. Those in the same basic group. Right? Aqranun from qarn. Wa akfa'un from kafa. Right? From kafa. It's a hamza there. Sorry for the bad writing. Kafa meaning to be equal. Right? To be equal. So basically they're from maybe the same grade or close to it at least. They're peers to one another and they're equal, meaning one isn't really big and one's really tiny. No, he chose them to be from the same saf, basically the same, age group and from the same ability, having the same physical ability. وَأَوْقَفَهُمْ, this is form 4 of waw, qaf, fa, form 4, meaning to make them stand. Waqafa is to stop or to stand. Awqafa is to make someone stand. وَأَوْقَفَهُمْ, and he stood them fi sufufin, in rows. Here is another word for saf, another meaning. When he said min jami'a sufuf, he didn't mean from all the rows, he meant from all the grades or all the classes. Well, sufuf here means rows, like in the salah we have rows and the imam is there, right? Sufuf, saffan, and this should be fatatain, not a fata and fatatain, it's a typo. Saffan khalfa saf, meaning one row, khalfa, behind the other. وَأَوْقَفَهُمْ فِي صُفُوفٍ, he made them in rows, saffan khalfa saf. Not necessarily, he could have said saf, janb saf, No. صف خلف صف. So if we had وفي كل صف ثلاثة. وفي كل صف ثلاثة. And each row was 3. I see my pen is connecting 2 of them, right? When I write it. So try it again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You made them in rows, right? 24 people, 3 people in a row, 8 rows, right? ووقف الأستاذ بجانب من هذه الصفوف وقدم صفا فيه محمد وإبراهيم وسعيد وهم أقران وأكفاء وقال قوموا في صف واحد وعلى خط واحد ولا يتقدم منكم أحد وكان إبراهيم متقدما قليلا فأخره وجعله في الصف وقال أنا أعد لكم فإذا قلت واحد فسووا صف وإذا قلت 2 فاستعدوا واجمعوا ثيابكم وإذا قلت 3 فطيروا. We'll stop right there for now. ووقف الأستاذ. The teacher, he stood. بجانب. بجانب from Jim Noon Ba, meaning to the side. بجانب, he stood to the side. من هذه صفوف, of these rows. He stood to the side of these rows. Saf and sufuf is a non-intellectual plural. Whenever we talk about non-intellectual plurals, we refer to them in the feminine singular. So that's why we say هذه. Right? ووقف الأستاذ بجانب من هذه الصفوف. The teacher, he stood next to these rows. وقدم صفا, and again this should just be 2 fatas, not a fata and fatatain. وقدم صفا فيه محمد وإبراهيم وسعيد. قدم meaning to bring forward. قدم, to bring forward, to present. So he brought these 3 forward. Muhammad wa Ibrahim wa Sa'id. وهم أقران وأكفاء, and they are peers and they were equal, right? They're peers and they're equal. وقال, and the teacher said, قوموا في صف واحد. Stand in one row. Stand in one row. قوموا from قام يقوم. قام يقوم. But you would look it up. Qaf, wow, mim. That's where you're going to get it from. Qumu, stand. It's plural. He's ordering them. Stand. Fi saffin wahid. In one row. Wa ala khattin wahid. A khat from khaf ta, meaning a line. So it's if they drew a line, or if you're on a basketball court or a soccer court or something, you have these lines, right? Stand on one line. وَعَلَى خَطٍ وَاحِدٍ, meaning one needs to be here, not one up here and one here, but they're both, or all 3, right there. وَلَا يَتَقَدَّمْ مِنْكُمْ أَحَدٌ, and one of you does not proceed. أَحَدٌ مِنْكُمْ, from you one. يَتَقَدَّمْ, meaning to proceed, meaning no one needs to be over the line, right? Or anything like that. Everybody needs to be in one row. No one needs to put his foot forward more than the other person's foot to try to get an advantage. وَلَا يَتَقَدَّمْ مِنْكُمْ أَحَدٌ. And don't let from you one proceed, right? Don't let anyone precede the other. وَكَانَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ مُتَقَدِّمًا قَلِيلًا. And Ibrahim was kana mutaqaddiman. He was proceeding, he was in front. Qalilan, a little bit. فَأَخَّرَهُ. أَخَّرَ meaning to be last. أَخَّرَ meaning to put back some. To put back, to go back. فَأَخَّرَهُ meaning the teacher made him go back. فَأَخَّرَهُ he made him go back. وَجَعَلَهُ فِي الصَّفِّ and he made him in the صف. So as if Ibrahim was like this a little bit in front. So the teacher made him go back and put him in the row. وَجَعَلَهُ جَعَلَ and he made him فِي الصَّفِّ. وَقَالَ أنا أعد لكم. أنا أعد from عين دال. I'm going to count. لكم for you. فإذا قلت so if I said فإذا قلت أنا أعد لكم I'm going to count for you. فإذا قلت so if I say واحد if I say one فسووا الصف سووا الصف like the Imam says سووا صفوفكم straighten your rows. سووا الصف straighten the row. فإذا قلت واحد فسووا الصف so when I say one straighten the row. وإذا قلت اثنان when I say two فاستعدوا again from عين دال but this is form 10 meaning get ready. فاستعدوا then get ready. واجمعوا ثيابكم. واجمعوا from like the word جميع like we said جمع together. جمع together. جيم ميم عين. واجمعوا gather ثيابكم. ثياب is the plural of ثوب meaning clothes. It doesn't necessarily mean the dishdasha, the jalabiya, but here it's pretty much what it means because he wants you to gather your thiyab, meaning take your thobe and pick it up to your waist so you can run. وَاجْمَعُوا ثِيَابَكُمْ gather your clothes, which shows us that this is teaching us some good etiquettes that we have modest clothes on, and our kids can go outside and run and play even in the dishdasha, even in the thobe. وَاجْمَعُوا ثِيَابَكُمْ gather your clothes. وَإِذَا قُلْتُ ثَلَاثَةً and when I say three فَطِيرُوا from ta ya ra meaning to take off like a bird. طير or طائرة, an airplane. فَطِيرُوا meaning take off. وذهب أحد المعلمين إلى آخر الميدان. وذهب and he went. Who went? أحد المعلمين مضاف إليه one of the teachers. إلى to آخر الميدان. Maidan comes from Mim Ya Dal. It could be field. It could be arena. Could here maybe possibly be the gym, right? They were outside or inside, depending on what you might call it. He went to the opposite side of where they were. The Maidan is the field or the, like we said, arena or gym. وَوَضَعَ هُنَالِكَ قَصَبَةً. وَوَضَعَ, and he placed. وَضَعَ, to place. وَوَضَعَ هُنَالِكَ. هُنَالِكَ means there or yonder, right? He placed over yonder, over there. قَصَبَةً. قَصَبَةً from qa, sad, ba, meaning a rod or a pipe, right? Something like that, some type of stick, right? A rod or a pipe. وقال, and he said, هذه, because this is feminine, هذه هي الغاية. الغاية is from ghain ya, meaning the aim or the goal. هذه هي الغاية. This is the finish line. This is the goal. وقال الأستاذ واحد. وقال الأستاذ, and the teacher, he said, al-ustad. Al-ustad is actually a Farsi word. It's a Farsi, a Persian word, which means anyone who excels in anything, even if he doesn't teach it. Right? He excels. He's an expert in something. Even if he doesn't teach it, he's ustad. And that's even how they kind of use it in slang around here. Ya ustad. They just mean like you're real good, even if they're talking to the waiter. He's a good waiter or something, right? Ya ustad. So qala ustad, it's a Farsi word, means this, but it's become in place of the word muallim or mudarris, the teacher, the professor, right? Qala ustad wahid. He said one. Wa waqafa qalilan. Wa waqafa here, before, waqafa meant to stand, because he stood next to the rows. Here, waqafa means he stopped, he paused, like the waqf in the Quran, when you see the jeen, right? Or you see the meen, or you see the sad, lam, alif, or the like the different marks, right, that you see in the Quran. These are called wuquf, ayatul waqf. These are stop signs. Do you go or stop or pause? What do you do? فَوَقَفَ قَلِيلًا. He paused for a second, or paused a little bit. ثُمَّ قَالَ إِثْنَانِ. And then he said two. ثُمَّ means then. قَالَ إِثْنَانِ. Then he said two. فَتَقَدَّمَ سَعِيد. So Sa'id came forward a little bit. Taqaddama Sa'id. We'll just say, example, he's in the middle. When he said two, Sa'id came forward a little bit. فَقَالَ الْأُسْتَاذ. So the teacher, he said, تَأَخَّرَ يَا Sa'id. Go back, Sa'id. تَأَخَّرَ. Go back. وَأَنَا أَعُدُّ مَرَةً ثَانِيَةً. And I'm going to count a second time. Marratan, as we said, is time. Thaniya here, it means second, or twice. I'm going to count a second time. Faqala. So he said, wahid, one, ithnan, two, thalatha, three. فَطَارَ الْأَوْلَادُ لَا يَدْرِ أَحَدٌ مَنِ السَّابِقِ. Fatara. So they took off. Al-awlad, the children, took off. La yadri ahadun. No one knew. No one knew. Right? From la adri, I don't know. La yadri, he doesn't know. Ahadun, no one knew. Man is sabiq. who was the winner, the sabiq? Who was the one who preceded? Who was the one who was going to win here? Hatta baraza Muhammadun, until Muhammad, baraza means to surpass or to stand out, right? Or to precede or to come forward like this. Baraza can be a distinguishing thing. Until basically Muhammad distinguished himself by being ahead. He came out clearly ahead. He was clearly ahead. Hatta Muhammad baraza, until he surpassed, until he stood out, until he came forward in a distinguished way. Not that they were neck and neck, but he came out and he was clearly ahead. وَهَاتَفَ الْأَوْلَادُ بِاسْمِهِ. Wahatafa means to shout and to yell. And that's where we get the word hatif, right? Hatif, telephone, right? Even though I know that's 30 years ago, telephone. Hatafa, right? Hatif is a cell phone, right? Hatif, cell phone. Our phone. A jawal is a cell phone, mobile, they say, right? Wahatafa meaning to yell or to shout. So when you call someone on the phone, you're giving them a shout, like, you know, shout at me, holler at me later, right? Yell. Wahatafa al-awladu, and the children yelled bismihi, with his name. Waqalu Muhammad, Muhammad, and they said Muhammad, Muhammad. They were shouting his name because he was in front. Wasahu, which is similar to hatafa, right? Sahu from siyah, meaning to yell or to scream. Marha, marha. Marha comes from mim ra ha, and it means bravo. Bravo, bravo. وَكَانَ هُوَ الْمُجَلِّي, and he was the وَكَانَ هُوَ, and he was al-mujalli. Al-mujalli from jim lam, meaning the one in first place, the one who comes first in a race. Al-mujalli. وَلَاحِقَهُ, وَلَاحِقَ meaning to catch. Lam ha qaf meaning to catch. وَلَاحِقَهُ Ibrahim, and Ibrahim caught him. وَكَانَ هُوَ الْمُصَلِّي, and he was the musalli. And we might think that means the one who's praying, but here it means the one who comes in second place, the one who comes in after al-mujalli. وَلَاحِقَهُ إِبْرَاهِيمُ وَكَانَ هُوَ الْمُصَلِّي, and Ibrahim caught him, and he was the one in second place. وَجَاءَ دَوْرِي, وَجَاءَ, it came, or he came, depending on if it's talking about a person or a thing. Dawri from dawara, here it means my turn, my part, my role, my round. Dawri means my turn, or ja'a dawri, and then came my turn. وَقُمْتُ, and I stood, from qama yaqumu, and I stood, fi aqrani wa akfa'i, amongst my peers and my equals. I stood. Fi will translate as here, among, or with. I stood amongst, or fi aqrani wa akfa'i, amongst my peers and my equals. وَعَدَّ الْأُسْتَاذُ, here it's past tense. Adda, he counted. A'uddu, I count. وَعَدَّ الْأُسْتَاذُ, and the teacher counted. Wahid, Ithnan, Thalatha. وَأَبْطَأْتُ قَلِيلًا, أَبْطَأْتُ from Ba-Ta Hamza. Ba-Ta Hamza means to be slow. But here this is form 4. We have the word bati. Bati means to be slow. Bilbut meaning slow, with slowness. Abta'u form 4 means to hesitate. Wa abta'tu qalilan, and I hesitated a little bit. Indal jarri, in running. I hesitated in running a little bit. فما قدرت أن أسبق وأكون المجلي. So I wasn't able, from qadara, to be able, to have the ability. فما قدرت, so I didn't have the ability. And أسبق, to proceed or to win. وأكون المجلي, and to be the mujalli, the one in first place. وَوَصَلْنَا إِلَى الْغَايَةِ, from wasala, and we reached, to reach, wasala, to reach. وَوَصَلْنَا إِلَى الْغَايَةِ, and we reached the aim or the goal or the finish line. وَكُنْتُ الْمُصَلِّي, and I was in second place. وَكَانَ خَالِدٌ الْمُجَلِّي, and Khalid was the one in first place. فَهَتَفَ الْأَوْلَادُ بِاسْمِهِ, so the children shouted his name. وَقَالُوا مَرْحَى مَرْحَى, and they said bravo, bravo. وَكَانَ إِخْوَانِي, and my brothers. إِخْوَانِي, وَكَانَ إِخْوَانِي يَظُنُّونَ, and my brothers were thinking, يَظُنُّونَ, from dhan, va, noon, and they were thinking, they were supposing, they were guessing, أَنِّي, that I, and al-mujalli, that I was the winner, that I was going to be the winner. They thought, they guessed, they thought, they supposed I was going to be the winner. لِأَنِّي, because I, لِأَنَّ is because. لِأَنِّي, because I, خَفِيف, I'm light. From خَافَ, I'm light. وَالصَّرِيع, from sin, ra, ain, and I'm fast. وَأَجْرِي كُلَّ يَوْمٍ, and I run every day. وَتَأَسَّفْتُ أَيْضًا, from Hamza, Sin, Fa. Hamza, Sin, Fa. تَأَسَّفْتُ, meaning I felt a little sad, I felt bad, I felt a little down, right? I felt a little bit sorry. You tell someone asif when you're sorry. Ta'assafa, meaning you tell them you're sorry. Here, ta'assaftu, I felt a little sorry. I felt a little let down. Aidan, also. Walakinni qultu fi nafsi. But, lakin is but. Walakinni, but I, qultu, I said, fi nafsi, in myself. Nafs is myself, in my soul, or in myself, right? Sa'asbiku. Sa here, the scene is the scene of the future. Sa, I will, in the future, putting something in the future. Sa'asbiku, I will win. Fil marrat thaniya, in the second time. Inda. Inda means when, or at the time of. Intiha, from noon, ha, hamza, intiha. At the end, the sana of the school year. Not sunnah, but sana with a fatha on the scene. Sa'asbiqu fil marrat thaniya. I win the second time, the next time. Inda intiha as-sana. At the end of the year, inshallah. If Allah wills. وَخَطَبَ الْأُسْتَاذُ فِي الْأَخِيرِ. And the teacher spoke. He gave a small khutbah He gave a small khutbah. He gave us a small lecture. Al-Ustad, the teacher, fil akhir, at the end. Ta'akhara, to go back. Akhir, the end. وقال, and he said, إن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان يسبق. Indeed, the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, he used to race. يسابق, he used to race. وكان أصحابه يتسابقون, and his Sahaba, they used to race as well. They used to compete. Right? يتسابقون, meaning they used to compete. Whether it be weightlifting or wrestling or racing, they used to compete. وَيَنْبَغِي from بَغِيَ بَغَيَ. My pen didn't write it when I tried just then. بَغَيَ, يَنْبَغِي, meaning and it's important or it's necessary or it is befitting. للمسلم, for the Muslim, أن يكون نشيطا, that he be, يكون, to be, that he be nashitan, from noon sheen thought. Noon sheen thought meaning active. Active. My pen is acting up. Man, we'll write active. نشيطا. وينبغي للمسلم أن يكون نشيطا خفيفا, light. قويا, strong, from قاف واو ياء. قويا, strong. حتى, until لا يعجز. يعجز, from Ain Jim Zin, Ain Jim Zay, meaning to be incapable. حتى لا يعجز, until he's not incapable. Fil jihad, in struggling. That jihad today is not the going out and doing the stupid stuff, running over people with trucks or, doing that stupid. Jihad today is doing what you're doing right now, listening to these lectures, trying to learn the Arabic language. For there's no other way for you to make Allah's word uppermost except if you were to learn this religion and defend it in this time. If you defend the religion in this time, then you're doing the greater jihad. You're struggling against yourself by taking your time out to learn this language, spending your money on dictionaries, taking time in notebooks and writing down verbs, and spending your time when there are so many other distractions. It's easy to go out there and pull a trigger and kill someone you don't know if they're right or wrong, someone you never even tried with, someone you never had patience with. As Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahab says, Thalathatul Usul says obligatory for you to have knowledge of 4 things. Knowledge of the religion, right? Knowledge of Allah and His Prophet and the religion, and to act on it, right? And to call to it and to be patient upon it, right? So this knowledge is what is the real jihad today. It's easy to go out there, someone you never struggled with, you never even talked to them, you never even told them about Islam. You never struggled and learned yourself. It's easy to sit back and say the kings are this, the rulers are that, the scholars are this, while they spent their whole life. They become wrinkled and old inside of knowledge. While you're sitting there moisturizing yourself and pushing lotion on everything, trying to stay pretty. They became old and concerned with knowledge. And you're concerned with the dunya and how you look. It's easy to do that. So the jihad today, and this requires you to be active, to have this energy, so that you can be in good shape when you walk, when you run, when you exercise, when you practice riyada, exercise. Then you are actually clearing your brain. They get what they call today mind fog, right? Fog from your mind that you have, just clouded thinking. You don't think clearly. When you exercise and you eat right, then your mind works better, right? Your brain is, all the blood isn't in your stomach constantly digesting food that you're constantly eating. Rather, some of it's working on your brain, and it's working, and your mind is thinking clear. And you're able to study, and you're able to think, and you're able to look at This is the jihad of today, ya akhwan wa akhawat. Even if there is a real jihad with a physical jihad that you go fight, but that's for a time when the scholars tell us it's time. So we want to be ready for this and for that. But the main thing you have to worry about is the immediate jihad in front of us, which is this knowledge. There's no greater jihad than the jihad of the sword. The pen. The jihad of the pen today. To pick up a book, to learn how to read it, to know what Allah wants from you, to know what the Messenger ﷺ instructed us with, and to stay away from. This jihad of the pen is the greatest jihad. The jihad of the tongue, the dawah, the calling to Allah. Right? So you want to have this energy. You want to be up. You got to stay up late at night to study. You got to get up early in the morning to study. Right? This requires your physical health. So the Prophet ﷺ كان يسابق, he used to race. وكان أصحابه يتسابقون, and his companions used to race. وينبغي للمسلم, and it's befitting for the Muslim أن يكون نشيطا خفيفا قويا. It's befitting for the Muslim that he becomes active and light and strong حتى لا يعجز في هذا الجهاد, until he's not incapable of performing this jihad. And I threw in the word hada so you don't think that it's just missing, right? This jihad of the pen, jihad of studying, trying to understand the book of Allah, right? These words appear in the Quran, these words appear in the hadith, so we need to learn them. This is what we have. Inshallah ta'ala, we'll meet next week with reading number 11, which is as-sa'a, the hour, right, or the time, right? And if you want to go ahead and read ahead, then the PDF is in the link, at least the first class, if not in every class. I don't remember if I have it in every class link, but it's at least inside the first class link. Get the PDF, read number 11, and try to prepare yourself. Try to go through it, see what you can figure out on your own, and whatever you can't figure out, then go back and compare what we come with inside the reading, and then, compare. See what you were able to do, see where your mistakes were, and inshallah ta'ala, week by week, you'll be getting better until eventually you won't need us to read with you anymore. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.